Hello, welcome to another edition of Talking Sports and Fitness with Zeke. I'm Zeke, also known as Mike Zielinski. My guest today is Rick Perez, who is the head basketball coach at Reading High School. And welcome, Rick.
All right, thank you for having me.
Well, you know, what can I say? You had a tremendous season. I mean, it was amazing. You guys went 28-4, won your second straight Berks Conference championship, the first district title in 6 years. First trip to PIAA semifinals in 33 years. But more than that, your team had a special bond, a special chemistry. They ignited the community. They were role models. They were totally embraced throughout the season. Fans traveling hours out of town, and the parade, the celebration at City Park after the season. Congratulations, job well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what was it like, and tell me about some of your players. Obviously Lonnie Walker IV, but you had a lot of good players. Tell me about some of the players, what made them special individually and as a team.
Well, first of all, I mean, as a family, they were exceptional. They led this entire charge. You know, we were blessed with a great group of young men, and we always have great young men who represent the Reading High basketball team. But in this case, what they represented just was much more emphatic. You know, they brought into the concepts of family, loyalty, and commitment, which are the three principles that our program is led by. And you know, when you have captains like Lonnie, Damon, and Kyrie, you know, they hold true to the word. You know, there's not many nowadays who understand what loyalty is, or what family is, or commitment for that matter. Right. And you know, they exemplified that not only in basketball but just in their entire character. You know, it became a habit to them. This just wasn't something that they were trying to do. It became the daily habit. And for those who are blessed to watch Lonnie's 2 interviews, will also see, I mean, in everything that they do, you know, from their smiles, the way they live life. And that's where our program was led from. That's where everything started.
I mean, you said this was an exceptional group. Is that something you think can be sustainable with, you know, with ongoing seasons? Because some players are more remarkable than others. But what's interesting, the reason I asked that question is I know you don't recruit. And of course, schools should not recruit, but we know, you and I both know that's not always the case. But you also turn down high quality transfers who want to come to win because you kind of feel it disrupts the home court chemistry or whatever. So that's a little unusual. You think that's a sustainable thing? You want guys, you turn down an opportunity to have a real good player?
Well, what we're trying to sustain is much bigger than this year's accomplishments.
Okay.
You know, we're simply trying to teach all the young men that come through our program, everyone who has anything to do with the program, you know, they have to really follow by the creed of loyalty, family, and commitment. Mm-hmm. You know, we have to really honor one another and really understand and be in tune with one another, and that's important, and that's very difficult to do. You know, it's easy to draw up plays. We're blessed with one of the greatest players in America, if not the world, and you know, we're blessed with other great young men with great talents. Mm-hmm. So in that case, you know, those things are a bit easier to do on the court than the actual character and values that we're trying to work with.
I had Rob Flowers on this program earlier, and we talked about coaching football in an urban environment. And a lot of the lessons you've been talking about off the court, it seems that, you know, all coaches have a higher calling than just wins and losses, but exceptionally so in an urban school district, would you say, with the social economic challenges that a lot of your students and players face?
Yeah, you know, we're trying to, you know, in today's society, whatever it may look like, you know, the perfect family for these young, our utopia, as we say it.
Okay.
You know, and it's important that we all respect, you know, the dynamics in our utopia, you know, in our happiness, our bliss. Mm. And, you know, ultimately basketball is a game. So what do you do in games? You play. And when we get on the court, that's our time to play, you know, and we just let it go, and they put forth their best effort. And we coaches are just lucky to have the best seat in the house because, I mean, when they put it all together, it's beautiful to watch. So,
yeah, there's no question about that. I want to just stay on like the culture of Reading High basketball. You kind of that filters down to the junior high ranks too, and
certainly all the way down to our youth.
so you doing that, it kind of that's the sustainability. Obviously, the talent level will vary from year to year, you know, basketball wise, but you have the same mentality if you can ingrain that with the young men.
Yeah, and you can see that in our youth league. You can see that in our youth AAU team, our feeder program, KTB. Their shirts they all in. You can ask the third graders whom I coach now. You know, they'll tell you loyalty, family commitment. So you know, those are things that we're trying to, you know, really embed into the whole program.
Well, you know, this team was obviously a tremendous marketing tool for you to really teach that lesson to the younger kids because they will look up to these kids just like earlier, you know, years people looked up to the Reading High program then. Tell me about how special was it to coach Lonnie Walker for?
He's a family member of mine. I mean, it's great. He's made me a better person. We smile a lot. I mean, the relationship is, you can't duplicate it. It's one of, it's much different than most coach-player relationships, and you know, that's important because it'll go way beyond the court. So hopefully, when we're older, and I don't know the difference in age. Maybe I'll beat him when I'm 60 and he's 50. Yeah. So.
It made your job as a coach a lot easier too. I would think that he is such an unselfish player. If you had a selfish superstar, that could kind of be a little disruptive in team
Certainly
chemistry. So that being said, he's obviously done some exceptional individual things. You ever like sit on a bench and think, "Oh my God," you know?
Well,
Or you're used to it now.
He's very unselfish, but he knows when it's time to when it's time for him to take a hold of the game.
Yeah.
And at those points, it doesn't matter really what I'm calling or what it is. We know that we understand each other's flow so much. You have to just let it happen.
Yeah.
And you know when it's going to happen. And with the trust in one another, you know, there's times he looks at me and well, we got to the point where we don't even need to look at each other. But, you know, for him, he knew it was time to go. Or when I would tell him just give us a moment. And I think we had not an issue, but, you know, he really wanted to put it up in the Central York game. And I said, just give us a minute. And he did hit it to end the quarter. And he did the same thing at Chester.
Yeah.
So, you know, he has some trust in me and I have that trust in him that we know the vibe, you know, of the team.
And I think, you know, because you referenced, you know, the family aspect, and a lot of these guys were playing together since 4th grade. They had, as Lonnie referenced in one of his programs with me, they trusted each other. So I think with the fact they trusted each other, you and the players had a trust for each other, it kind of made the whole thing work.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate thing. I mean, even going from Coach Flowers and Coach Randall and the other coaches, when it was time for them to speak up, or any of the other players, everyone had a voice. Everyone was important in this entire mission. So, you know, the only thing, my responsibility as a head coach is I just take the blame when we lose. Outside of that, we all share their leadership, and they knew how to nurture it and use it the right way, from the players to the other coaches.
Obviously, Lonnie's being heavily recruited. Are you involved? I know he has a very strong father figure, Lonnie Walker III, who was an outstanding player at Alvernia. Are you involved with it at all, or do you give him advice, or how does that work?
You know, Lonnie and his family, they have this process. Okay, they've got a good handle on it, and for us, you know, we just have to make sure, as I've always said to Lonnie, our role is just to make sure that you remain the best Lonnie throughout the entire process. So, you know, his father and the rest of the family have a great hold on it, as Lonnie does. You know, we do get an opportunity to engage and meet a lot of great people. But, you know, everywhere he turns, it's, well, what college are you going to? Where are you going to?
Yeah.
when it comes to myself, I stay away from those conversations because it's time for us to laugh. It's time for us to change up pace.
Next season, could that be a distraction as everybody is focusing, where's Lonnie going, where's Lonnie going?
Not at all.
I know he won't let it be a distraction and you won't, but
Not at all. His dad has a great grip on the entire process. Lonnie understands where he's at and what he needs to do, and I understand what he needs to do and what his father needs to do. So it won't be a distraction.
We're just about out of time, but what was when you look back upon this season, what will stick with you the most?
Oh, man, dancing at practice.
Really?
Dancing at practice. Yeah.
It's easy to dance when you're winning, man.
Yeah, dancing at practice. Yeah.
Next season, you're losing a lot of guys, but you have a lot of talent coming up, right? So obviously you're optimistic about next year?
Yes. I don't like to talk too much about next year because I've really taken on the pace of one day at a time.
Okay.
But we have a great group of young men who are trying every day, trying every day to get better so they can, meet the expectations that they want, and that we want.
All right. Coach Rick Perez, Reading High School, again, congratulations on a fantastic season, a season that people in Berks County and beyond will not forget for a long time. Take care. This is Zeke. Take care.
These community stories are made possible in part by BCTV, Susie Ray Design, Queen City Family Restaurant, Lamar Advertising, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, Reading Air, Lions and Hole, Peanut Bar, and Kutztown University.